You know that philosophy that's absolutely everywhere right now? Stoicism? Well, what if I told you that most people, maybe even you, have got it completely wrong? And that getting it wrong isn't just a simple mistake, it could actually be damaging your most important relationships. Yeah. So, we're going to dive in, because the popular idea of a Stoic might be the exact opposite of what the philosophy is actually all about.
Oof. These are the words that just stopped everything cold. Imagine this. It's a Tuesday night, a moment where someone you love is being vulnerable, looking for connection, and what they get back isn't empathy, but a cold, distant lecture. The silence that followed that sentence, it was loud, and it almost broke everything.
So, the author of our source material here was about 3 weeks into his personal Stoicism experiment. And as you can probably guess by now, it was a spectacular failure. A total disaster that nearly cost him the most important person in his life.
So here's how it went down. His partner comes to him, she's had a rough day, a conflict at work left her feeling anxious and just small. And instead of getting a hug or an "I'm here for you," she got a lesson. He literally said things like, "That's just your perception," and "You're letting external events control your internal state." He thought he was being this wise, detached stoic, but all she saw was a cold stranger.
And that painful moment, that was the light bulb moment. That's when it finally clicked. He wasn't practicing Stoicism at all. He was just practicing good old-fashioned emotional suppression. He had it completely backwards. And he realized the philosophy he thought was about becoming a fortress was actually about becoming more deeply and truly human.
All right, so how did we even get here? How did this incredibly profound ancient philosophy get this reputation for being so cold and robotic? It's time to bust some serious myths.
I love this. It's basically the Spock fallacy. On the left, you've got the myth, right? Lowercase s Stoicism. Unemotional. Think Mr. Spock from Star Trek, or maybe even Patrick Bateman. It's all about squashing your feelings down. But on the right, that's the truth. Capital S Stoicism. Practiced by guys like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius. People who felt everything, deeply. And their goal wasn't freedom from emotion, it was freedom from suffering. Huge difference.
And look, this isn't just some new interpretation. It's right there in their own words. If you read Seneca's letters, they are gut-wrenching. He writes about grief, about being exiled. It's pure human pain. And Marcus Aurelius' meditations, that's not a rule book. It's his private journal. It's a diary of a man literally fighting off despair every single day. These were not robots. These were real men in the middle of chaos, just trying to figure out how to survive.
So the word the original Stoics used was apatheia. Now, I know, it sounds a lot like our modern word apathy, but it's not the same thing at all. It doesn't mean not caring. It means freedom from suffering. Think of it like this. A huge wave of emotion, anger, grief, whatever, is still going to crash over you. Apatheia is the strength to not let that wave pull you under and drown you.
Okay, that sounds great, right? Feel the wave, but don't drown. But how do you actually do that in the real world? Well, it all comes down to a really simple, practical technique, and it all happens in the space of just a couple of seconds.
It's called the 2-second gap. So let's break it down. First, there's the stimulus. An event happens. Someone cuts you off in traffic, you get a nasty email. Your body reacts instantly, right? Heart pounds, you feel a flash of anger. That's just biology. But then a little gap opens up, maybe just 2 seconds long. And that tiny little space, that's where all your power is. It's in that gap that you get to make a conscious choice about how you're going to respond. You know, this idea was captured so perfectly by the psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor Viktor Frankl. Between stimulus and response, there's a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. He knew, more than almost anyone, that in that little gap, that's where our freedom truly lives. So let's go back to our author's story and see this in action. The next time his partner came to him upset, he felt that same old feeling rise up, that frustration, that impulse to jump in and lecture. But this time, he found the gap. He took a breath. And instead of reacting from that initial flash of anger, he just listened. He held her hand. He was just there with her. That's it. You see, this isn't some tough guy philosophy for avoiding pain. It's actually a philosophy that makes room for it. It's a philosophy that understands grief, a philosophy that knows how to weep. Let's go back to Marcus Aurelius. This was the most powerful man in the world, and he was dealing with constant war, a devastating plague, and losing his own children. Meditations wasn't a book he wrote to become a self-help guru. It was his private journal, his notes to himself, just to stay sane. It's a toolkit for people who feel like they are barely hanging on, not for people who think they have it all figured out.
So let's bring this all home. The goal of real Stoicism was never to become emotionless. The goal was always to become free.
And if you remember one thing, let it be this right here. This is the crucial distinction. False, lowercase s, Stoicism says, I do not feel anger, which, let's be honest, is usually a lie. But real, capital S Stoicism says, I feel anger, but I am not its slave. You see the difference? It's not about denial, it's about discipline. You acknowledge the feeling, you let yourself feel it, but you don't let it drive the car.
And what was the result of all this for our author? Well, sometime later, after another deep conversation, his partner said this to him: "Thank you for not being a robot, for just being here." That's what true Stoicism gave him. Not the power to shut down, but the freedom to show up for the person he loved.
And that, really, is the whole point. The goal isn't to build a fortress around your heart so you don't have to feel anything. It's to build a foundation inside yourself that's so strong you can actually afford to feel everything, knowing that no single wave is ever going to be big enough to destroy you.
So I'll leave you with this question to just mull over. What emotion is the hardest for you to feel without getting totally swept away by it? Is it anger, anxiety, sadness? The next time you feel that flash, see if you can find that 2-second gap, because that's where the real work and the real freedom begins.